Network. Let's talk pets.
Okay.
And good morning or good afternoon to all of you out there, whatever the case may be. You are here live with Dr. Jeff Werber, your host here on Pet Life Radio's live call-in show, Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. And we're here with a special guest today, Sarah Hodgson. We'll get to talk to Sarah in just a second. Hope you've had a good week. I hope you're braving the weather. It is, oh my God, I think I told you I was at the Global Pet Expo and, the Super Zoo in Las Vegas. About a week ago, and braving weathers of 110 degrees and higher. Here in Southern California, we've been in the hundreds. So make sure you keep your pets safe. Make sure that they have plenty of water, plenty of shade, and if you keep them inside, that's even better. And if you're going to exercise them, make sure it's only going to be early in the morning or late in the evening, and watch their feet. Make sure they have plenty of water and plenty of rest stops. No running marathons with your dogs during this time of year, that's for sure. And want to thank our sponsors, ProSense Pet Products, Kong Veterinary Products. Kong is one of our newer sponsors, and this show is brought to you by them and More Than a Cone, which is raising awareness for animal wellness through the arts. It's a great campaign that KVP is doing. Also, Save This Life Microchip. Big fan of that, especially microchipping this time of year when you're probably going to be out and about with your dogs and going to the dog parks and doing all the stuff you do. There's a big chance for them to get away from you. So make sure they have both an internal ID and an external ID. Don't count on just one or the other. Better yet, have them both. And also, we're working on, we work with Comfortis, we're working with Bravecto now, so a lot of good stuff. Anyway, so we're here today with Sarah Hodgson. Sarah is a very well-known behaviorist, trainer, I think over more than 30 years in the biz, and also an author. And I actually got to read and review Modern Dog Parenting, which is her new book, which is now out, I believe. And anyway, Sarah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on live with you, Jeff.
So tell us, first of all, let's give it a little bit about your background. Here's your opportunity to just kind of let it all out and toot your own horn. That's totally fine, because we're here for us. You can say anything you want.
I've always loved dogs, and ever since about the age of 6, I was just addicted to leading them around and directing them, and I always felt that they were like little children. I never really felt that they were all that much different than we are, and so I had a big band of dogs around my neighborhood, and I started my official business when I was 19 and still in college to be a veterinarian, and much to my parents' chagrin, I didn't pursue veterinary school much beyond my senior year at Michigan State, and I just started training dogs, and I've never stopped. I got my first book when I was quite young with a veterinarian, and my philosophy is simply treat them like children, teach them English as a second language. I created a home and a land with a multi-species household that we call Doglandia. We have foster dogs that are in, some stay forever, some go out. We have pets and rabbits and kids. I toss in a husband in there, and we just have a lot of fun. And I just go around helping people understand that dogs just want to know what you expect from them. You teach them English just like they were a foreign exchange student, and they respond. And they'll love you forever if they can understand what you want them to do. That's an added bonus.
And have you ever, in working with dogs, I, as a veterinarian, I, hear the tough stories. I just worked with a family recently that we had a beautiful, absolutely stunning Australian Shepherd that is great with most everybody and great in most circumstances. However, there have been a number of circumstances where this dog literally it's a Jekyll and Hyde. And unpredictable. They have no idea what the trigger is, whether it's with a person or persons, or just the other day, another dog on the two dogs on the street, two elderly women walking there, two very well-behaved, believe it or not, Irish setters. something that we don't see very much anymore, that breed. And this dog went ballistic. So, but the dog is still young and way too, it's a beautiful dog. I mean, absolutely one of the best Australian Shepherd, just a great representation of the breed. Anyway, so they are going to be rehoming right now with a trainer to find out what is the trigger of this dog. Why does he go from those mixed personalities? Have you ever had a dog that you just couldn't train, or at least not train in the current environment that it was in, and recommended maybe this is a great dog, but it's the wrong situation?
Well, you bring up a lot of interesting points. With Australian Shepherds, they're a herding breed, and herding breeds by nature are obsessive compulsive, and they're very territorial because they are bred to be on a farm doing the same routine with sheep day in and day out. And with shepherding dogs, they also will see their family as either sheeps or shepherds. And if they are sheep, then they are going to distinguish based on their own criteria what constitutes a threat to their herd. So it's okay that the dog's being sent out, but the dog's probably going to see the trainer as a shepherd and may return trained for that trainer, but adapting to the same household with the same set of triggers. So if I were working with a person, and I do work on Skype and I do phone sessions, and I do bring a certain different way of looking at problems than people have experienced with other trainers, I would ask them really to write down where these situations are happening and when. I find that a lot of people have been misinformed that leash walking is a necessity for having a happy dog, and that excessive exercise makes for a happy family. Now, you spoke of something which is critically important, and I want to underscore it for your listeners, in that dogs, no matter what the heat is, really are crepuscular animals. They need to sleep during the day. A mature dog, correct me if you've heard otherwise, will sleep 75% of the day. And the exercise that it needs is in the morning and in the evening, not all day long, not leashed walks. Dogs, this whole leash walking is a relatively new invention in the human-dog relationship, and dogs are not bred to walk in a linear fashion, especially herding breeds. So what I see and what I do with herding breeds is I train them basically off-leash. When we go, the home is equal to a den. So to a dog, the home is their den, the yard is their territory, everything else is the world beyond. When people start taking their dog on leash walks around a gigantic neighborhood or around a 2-yard block, the dog, if that dog is taken that far, is going to perceive a very big territory and grow to protect it. So I would recommend some different things, but I don't want to take up the whole show talking on and on about this. So
yeah, I just wanted to know. So there are, we had a dog when I was 5. My parents thought it would be really cool. My dad fell in love with this Doberman Pinscher that was 11 months old, intact, and off the show circuit for one reason or another. It didn't seem to make the cut for this breeder.
Right.
So the dog's sister lived down the block, and litter mate, and my dad adopted this dog. So he brings this dog into a home with 4 kids. I was 5, sister 7, and then 3 and 1 and 2, and a magnificent dog. Really was a magnificent dog. But when I happened to walk in the house, I was living in New York. I was all bundled up. It was during the winter. And I think, because I was only 5, I didn't really pay much attention. I think what we all think is I must have stepped on him while he was sleeping in the hallway. And out of reflex, he decided to jump up and protect himself, which happened to be the brunt of that protection was my face. So there I was, literally got me, plastic surgery, the whole bit. And but we knew that he really was a good dog. But man, you don't put a dog who's been on a show circuit, probably never seen a kid, right? And they're very reactive. You know, they're very alert. Dobermans in general are. And you put them in a house of 4 little toddlers, and where who knows what can happen. So we ended up rehoming him down the block with the elderly couple with no children left. They were older kids, and he got to live out his very happy life with his littermate sister and this old family. We got to visit, but it was you know, sometimes I think, you know, what's the expression? There's really no bad dog. Sometimes it's like the bad situation, the bad environment. But dogs, and people have to realize that you be very careful when, like, for example, all the things we were just talking about, the nature of an Australian Shepherd. So, and many dogs have their nature, whatever that nature might be. So when you are considering a dog, or you're adopting from a shelter even, and you need to know what are the normal personality inbred traits of this breed or breeds. In the case of a rescue, it's probably a mix, and proceed cautiously and accordingly. Even though the dog may look gorgeous, it may not be the right dog for your situation. And understand that if it doesn't work out, the fate of some of these dogs is really not pleasurable. So these are things we have to, you know, take into consideration also. Also, just the people, you know, out there, you know, if you have any questions for Sarah, an amazing dog trainer, behaviorist, you can give us a call at 877-385-8882, or join us online, PetLifeRadio.com. Click on the Ask the Vets tab with Dr. Jeff, and you can scroll down to find my link. And then in our little page, you will see a link for Google Hangouts, and you can actually join us live right here, as Sarah has done with me. And if you go onto Google Hangouts, it's really cool. And the link is on our page on Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. Anyway, don't go away. We are at that halfway point here in the show, and we are going to be right back after a word from our sponsors, both our show and Pet Life Radio as well. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. This is my tired of itchy face.
Does your dog suffer from persistent itching and scratching, allergies and skin irritations, altered my environment, including pollen, insects, sexual fleas, food and common household allergens are common problems with dogs? It's easy to alleviate your dog's discomfort. ProSense itch and allergy products provide fast relief from symptoms like itchy, irritated skin infections like hot spots and watery eyes. ProSense products are very formulated and recommended to ensure the very best for your pet. Try ProSense today. Your dog will thank you. Just love life. Love in the bath with ProSense.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports themes. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Want to know who the latest trendsetters are in Hollywood? How about Irish setters? Find out who's been spotted with Spots, showing with your chow, and shopping for Gucci with their Gucci. You'll put all the latest celebrity pet patter right here. Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets. Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets.
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay. And welcome back. You are here live with Dr. Jeff Werber, your host here on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff, and along with my guest, Sarah Hodgson, author, trainer. And Sarah, so you have this new book, Modern Dog Parenting. Is it out already?
It comes out September 6th.
September 6th. Okay, everyone write that down. September 6th, Modern Dog Parenting by Sarah Hodgson. So tell us about the book. Tell us what prompted you to write another one. You have one before that. Was it The Pledge? What you have a couple books out there, huh?
I think I have about 12 out there. Several with the Dummy series, and then some others with House. So I took a little break to raise my family, and I really felt the niche for people to understand it's not really training, it's more parenting. It's more structure, reinforcement, consistency, and positive parenting. So I approached my agent, who reached out, and I found a home for my book with St. Martin Press. We are putting up daily tips on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com, When Dogs Talk, and all these tips really point out the parallel between raising dogs and children. Dogs really want to know two things. They want to know, where am I supposed to go, and what am I supposed to do when things happen, when people come in the house, when you're eating, when you're watching TV. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And it boils down to a few simple reinforceable habits that you can create. Put a mat in the rooms you share. Make sure you have a bone or a busy toy that your dog can be preoccupied with. Understand the importance of sleep training, which I talk about in the book, and a few other tips that I go over in the book. And it's a fun read. A few people said it reads like a mystery, and I think you give me one of the highest compliments. That you're going to use it at your home, and I felt so happy.
Now, have you ever met a dog that people follow everything, you've worked with them, and still it's just not working?
It's interesting because I tell people want me to move in the minute they meet me. I love people, I love dogs, I love kids. And I said, well, I'll work with you. And I either do day training where I come in 3 or 4 times during the week when the people aren't there and transfer over, or I'll coach them. And I say, but if it takes you more than a month to see change, to get this right, it's not the right dog for you. And passing a dog on, if you're so frustrated with the dog that it's bringing about anger and frustration, and you're working and following what I'm saying for a month, it's in your dog's interest to find it a home where it's happy, because a dog that misbehaves it's not happy. It's unsettled. And you know what? I rarely have any clients that rehome their dog. They come up to the table, they follow what I tell them to do. Dogs love to learn, and when you do it right, and you use positive reinforcement, and you're encouraging, and you give them places to go, and you do what I encourage, it works, and people see change within one hour of my being there. It's not that hard to change a dog's behavior if you're willing to change your own behavior.
You know, you say something very interesting, and I've noticed I've never had this with my dogs, and I have 5 right now, and they're amazing. I mean, my yellow lab is still a puppy, a 5-year-old puppy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping by 7 he'll settle. But my Labradoodle is extremely well behaved and trained, and my Frenchie's totally. My Black Lab, who's now 15 and a half, which is highly remarkable for a Labrador.
Absolutely.
But my yellow lab is, as I said, he's got a screw loose or two, but he's got, as they say, one thing about labs, what they lack in brain, they make up for in heart. Yeah. So, and he is just the sweetest thing, and all he wants to do is please. But I've had this problem more in the past with cats, and I've had to rehome 2 over the years. Interestingly, and for those of you listening out there, don't hate me, but they were both females. And I find that in multi-pet households, of which mine is one, because I have 6 cats with my 5 dogs, and that the male cats seem to be just better adjustable. In other words, they seem to adjust better to the insanity, the craziness. They're more secure in their own skin. And I've tried on 2 occasions to bring a female into the mix, and the female would just, she would hide all the time. She wouldn't use a litter box because she was afraid to go out. She was afraid of the dogs, and the dogs are used to cats. They would live with 6 of them. They don't care of another cat. Every new cat I brought in, the dogs think, oh my God, a new toy. Right. But understand, you made a really good point. Sometimes if it's not working out for you, trust me, it's probably not working out for your pet either. That's So you don't necessarily have to feel guilty. I actually, it did happen once with it. I tried to rescue a Corgi. I love Corgis, and again, herding dogs by nature. Well, at the time, I had 2 very large, relatively impatient Labradors when it came to a little Corgi. And all this Corgi wanted to do was herd my labs. literally, and yeah, if any of you have watched corgis in action, obviously they're not big enough to like a Rottweiler take a shoulder and like a football player into the or to yap around and bark. They're healers, and they nip at the feet, and that's how they get these big animals, the cows, the sheep, to change direction. And this little corgi was all day long running after my dogs and nipping at their feet. And they were saying, "Would you cut that? Get off of me already!" And then it was starting to be like a little more of aggressive. Well, anyway, one of my clients had a corgi and came and asked me. She goes, "You know what? I want to get another corgi." I said, "Wait a sec, time out. Do I have the dog for you?" And I took little Calvin, and Calvin moved in. And it was like the best thing that ever happened. Calvin was the happiest dog. He had another dog just like him to play with, and they lived happily ever after. So the only thing I would caution you is taking the dog back to a shelter. Try to rehome, because often, unfortunately, if that dog ends up back in a shelter, its fate is not a good one. But if you can rehome, take your time, work with a trainer, and do the best you can, it might end up much better for both of you. So what else? What if you had to like narrow down? For example, let's talk about something that I hear all the time. That one of the bigger problems, it's not aggression, it's not misbehaving, it's separation anxiety.
Yeah.
How, if you can just, I know it's tough because there's so many factors that go into dogs that have separation anxiety, but I've heard stories about literally the dog, the owner leaving the house and the neighbors saying within 5 minutes the dog is yapping, running, you can just hear all this stuff. First of all, why? What is the problem there? And give me a quick, Cliff Notes solution.
Yeah, well, I just wrote a piece for the Huffington Post on separation anxiety, and I blog there. If you can imagine a 2 to 3 year old child being locked away from its parents while they ran errands, then you can understand the frenzy of a dog who is anxious by nature, does not like to be left alone, hate silence. This is something people don't recognize. Silence frightens a dog. It's very unsettling. So some of the quick solutions I give to people when I'm Skyping or over the phone, I ask them to revert back is find out what triggers the anxiety. Link it to something the dog loves, tug of war, game, a game I call Find It, where I throw treats on the floor and say find it. It's really not more complicated than that, although I have a video on YouTube. You throw treats, you say find it, and you ring the doorbell, or you grab your purse and you play find it with some bits of turkey or some high-end treats the dog loves. So you list all your triggers, you link it with things the dogs enjoy. Don't follow the trigger with leaving, just one by one, kind of link up the triggers. When you go for short departures. I love this pet acoustic cube. I have 7 of them in the house. The kids love them too. And it plays this kind of petsy, groovy, new agey music that the dogs seem to like. It fills the house with music. I turn that on, I feed them their meal. So they start hearing this music and thinking they're getting fed. Then when I leave the house, I put that music on and I give them a puppy pacifier. I have a funny YouTube video of creating puppy pacifiers with food and little treat bits. I give them a puppy pacifier and go out for 5 minutes. When you come back in, and this is so important, if your dog is anxious, don't reconnect right away. Come in, put your purse down, ignore your dog, give them a bone or something to fester chew on, and don't look or reconnect to them until they're not anxious. Otherwise, you're reinforcing the anxiety. And if your dog's done something wrong or something you think's wrong, chewed up a slipper or peed or pooped or done some god-awful thing, who cares? Life is so short. Don't pay attention, because if you get angry at your dog, you're increasing the anxiety. If they're destructive and putting them in a crate makes them frantic, enclose them in a room. Use a pen or enclose them in a room with a double gate if they'll scale it. Put their puppy pacifier down, limit the destruction, and come in. Don't let them out of that area until they've calmed down from the anxiety. Woo! How's that for an elevator pitch?
That was perfect. Perfect. It's great. So, so where can we find more about what you do? You mentioned you have some of these things on YouTube. You're blogging on Huffington Post. if somebody wants to hear or read or learn some more of how they can make their dog the perfect dog, join that realm of modern dog parenting, then how do we find you?
They can go right to my website, which is When Dogs Talk. Obviously, www.whendogstalk.com. They can connect with all my social media channels. I'm kind of everywhere, and I have lots of YouTube videos. They can go on there, and Facebook. There's all sorts of things posted there, and yeah, they'll see me liking you and you liking me, and it'll be easy to find us both.
And how do you, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you to actually use your services as a behaviorist, a trainer, how would they go about that? On
my website, When Dogs Talk, you'll see Work with Sarah, and there's a easy form to fill out, Skype, or if they're in the tri-state area, there's an easy form to fill out. It'll come to me, and I'll get right in touch.
And now you said Skype. Have you found that it can be effective even though you're not personally there?
Oh yeah. Oh, and I teach people things that they say they've never heard before, and a lot of posturing can be done right in front of the computer camera. So it's nice. I can come in there, and there's a lot of modern technology. So I'll ask them to use their phone to videotape the dog or to videotape them working with their dog, and I can just analyze quickly. You know, a lot of times people stare at dogs, and what I help people understand is that humans are the only people that think staring and smiling at each other is a positive thing. To a dog, it can really shut them down. So I can teach a simple skill of when you're trying to tell your dog to do something, say and show them. Don't say and stare. And don't run at your dog. You're scaring your dog. They can't learn that way. It's simpler to leave on a little leash or to use a little treat cup to call them over so that they grab something you don't want them to grab. They come and give it to you versus run away with it.
One last real quick thing. It's a yes or no answer because I had Stanley Coren on a couple of weeks ago. Do you hug your dogs?
Oh, yeah. I hug them all the time. I do. But I also have a little thing in my book that says, here's how you condition your dog to love hugs. I even have a video on YouTube, how to teach your dog to love hugs.
Because as I told Stanley, I was shocked when I read that report, his study, because my dogs, and I have a lot of patients that literally jump up on me. They love to be hugged. Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me here on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. Hopefully, we can have you on soon. If there's ever something that you know, like I'd be really interested to talk about some of your top 5 problems that people call you about, and then we'll have you back on the show and we'll run through each one and just give solutions to people, because I guarantee if you're getting them as a top 5, then there are enough of our listeners out there are having the same problems. So and it's like, you know, they want the answers, they're just afraid to ask. All right. Anyway, once again, thanks to our sponsors, Kong Veterinary Products, ProSense, Save This Life Microchip, and Comfortis, maybe hopefully soon to be Bravecto. It's a great product. They're both fantastic. And we will see you here live next week on Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you, Sarah.